Hey everybody, Jennifer Louden, jenniferlouden.com. How do you find time to write? Oh gosh, isn't that the most beautiful, vexing, and delightful question? But what makes you think I have an answer? I mean, seriously, there isn't an answer to the question, how do you find time to write? Anybody who tells you they have the answer, they are full of it. They're full of their own self-answer, which may or may not work for you. It's great to go out there and listen to videos like this and read articles and test out other people's ideas, but you have to test them out. Like the old advice, write every day. Great, Stephen King, love you. Love that that works for you. Doesn't work for me. I love to take the weekends off. I need to take the weekends off. I need to take weeks away from my writing. I'm not a binge writer, but I'm more of a consistent 5-day-a-week worker girl. So, write every day doesn't work for me. Go away and write alone in a cabin, away from electronics and people and family and pets. Oh, when I tried that, I got so depressed. And I left early because what I discovered is when I'm drafting a project, I need to do it in small amounts of time in my regular life because it's kind of overwhelming to me. And what works best for me in going away is actually to go on a retreat with other people where there's a structure and community as well as silence. And that holds me. And that works really well for drafting and also for long periods of revising or deepening and thickening later in a project. Do morning pages. Come on, get those morning pages done. Oh my gosh, doesn't work for me at all. Takes too much of my time and energy. It's 20 minutes and I just get so tired of hearing myself say the same things over and over again. I think I've made my point, right? What works for you? Stop looking outside of yourself. Right away, you're giving up your own creative process when you think someone has the answer to anything. Of course, you probably know all of this, and that's why you're watching this video. So you're like, okay, Jen, can you please give me some ideas of how I can find the time that I can then decide whether they will work for me and make my own? Okay, here's my ideas. The first one is study your work style. I know some of you who have worked with me know that I go on and on about this, but it's worth going on and on about. Maybe keep your hand moving for 4 or 5 minutes, use a timer, and that helps you get past the really obvious things that you already know off the top of your head. Here's a prompt you can use. When I drop all the shoulds and the buts and the if-onlys, when and how often do I like writing best? Keeping your hand moving for a period of time like that, repeating yourself, whining, whatever you need to do, it helps you get into deeper layers of knowing and past, nothing's ever going to work for me. And, you know, there's no point because that's all bull hockey with a capital B-S bull hockey, right? We can find the time. We can move our writing projects forward in almost any situation. Here's another idea. You could just play. A writer friend of mine said that the other day. She just plays. She doesn't think about what it's going to be or readers or product or making money, but she also sticks with 1 or 2 projects. So don't go all over the place with this idea of play. Focus on staying in just a couple of pleasant playgrounds and making some progress there, but don't look to the future or who's going to read it. You could also create a deadline for yourself. Now, a skill that all artists have to learn is to decide over and over again, trust me, 25 years of doing this, that your work matters because it matters to you, because you want to create it. But when you were in school or when you're at work, you have deadlines. You have other people you're coordinating with, right? It makes it feel much more real. It's not just in you. So a great way to help that feeling, to help you know that your work matters, to help you learn in your bones, is to create some kind of public deadline. One of my clients just is creating a joint reading at a bookstore, and it's a fundraiser for a cause that she cares very much about. So other people are involved, flyers are involved, announcements are involved, you know, so it creates a sense of, yes, I have to get it done, and she has to get it done before she goes back to school for a degree that she's working on. So that also creates a sense of pressure. What would work for you? You could also notice that when you start to write, or even to think about writing, when the conversation comes in, that's too scary, or I don't have time, listen into what are some of your internal stories about what the writing needs to be or do. I work with a lot of writers, and it is so common to feel down deep that if you don't write and you don't succeed as a writer, there's no point to your life, or that you are not special. You're not creative. You're not one of those people. And thus, again, you and your life are sort of meaningless. Or we put so much weight on doing something important with our writing that involves inevitably others saying, "You're a genius," or "I love it, and I'm going to buy it for $1 $1 million. And that gives all of our delight and our power away to something that will forever and ever, amen, be out of our control. It may happen, it may not, it may be pleasant, it may not. And that both of these things can become real pressures for why you're not finding the time to write, why you're not writing, sort of this inner weight that you're putting on it for results or to give your life meaning. So bring those stories up out of the dark and where you see them and just watch them in action with so much compassion. Don't try to change them or bully yourself out of them. Just very gently ask, how is that story that my writing has to give my life meaning shaping my ability to get to my writing today? How's it shaping my choices today? You could get more specific and clear with your promises about when you'll write. I see so many writers who never get to their writing because they do this double whammy of being super vague about when they'll write and ridiculously inflated about how often or how long they will write for. You know, it's like, I will write all day. I won't eat. I'll write all weekend. I'll write all night. I'll write after I've worked a double shift at the hospital. I'll write this week sometimes, maybe. I'll write before work, even though that means getting up at 4 a.m. and the baby's not sleeping because she has colic. I'll write my novel and finish a full-length opera, even though I'm nursing my mother-in-law through the end of her life and I have a full-time job. Oh, and I have twins, let's say, right? These are real stories from people I work with. This is how insane we can get and can become the actual reason we're not writing. We're expecting too much from ourselves and we're not being specific about what we will write or when, how many words, how many pages. Instead, make small, precise, loving, clear promises to yourself that you can actually fit in this life. Not the life you keep thinking you're gonna have, right? And that'll be the perfect life with your future self who never binges on Netflix, who never keeps going back to the freezer for just one more bite of, coconut bliss, who never has to work or care for anybody else or worry about bills or get sick or maybe even take a shower because she just glows. The future self, she just glows with perfection and perfect discipline all the time. This future self is not going to help you get your writing done. Just stop doing this to yourself. It actually makes you work less. Pushing yourself, being vague, and thinking that you have some perfect self that's going to arrive next week or tomorrow morning, it's just going to keep making you feel so bad about yourself. Make clear promises instead. You could also stop doing writing practice. What? Now look, writing practice, free writes, generating a lot of words is one of my favorite tools. I use it regularly in my own writing. I use it in all kinds of different ways at my retreats. But the primary focus for most people teaching writing practice is without any structure. And over time, I've seen it defeat so many writers. You end up with a shit ton of pages, but you don't know what it is. It doesn't go anywhere. You don't finish anything. You don't submit anything, read anything at a poetry slam. You start to wonder, what is the point? Am I writing to myself? Am I writing to someone else? How do I get anywhere? And that's a really good question. We'll keep exploring that in future videos and always at my retreats, the point of your writing. But for now, think about choosing one particular form and write into that with your writing practice. I learned this from Priscilla Long, the author of The Writer's Portable Mentor. You want to write a personal essay about your hysterectomy? Great. Write into it, free writing, different parts. What would be in it? What are some scenes? What are some anecdotes? You want to write a short story about that strange man you saw driving a hearse, but he had this beautiful live child in the back playing as he was driving down the freeway? Great. Write about the images, but write into it with a short story structure in mind. Explore your topic via free writes while working into a form and stretching to connect with a reader. Life-changing! Okay, let's review a few of my ideas that you will make your own or totally reject to find the time to write. The first one is, stop asking me or anybody else, and stop believing your excuses it's impossible. Ask instead, when do I actually work best? How? Where? For how long? What kind of structure do I need to do the writing? Number two, play. without thinking about the outcome, but into a few projects. Stick with a few projects. Don't keep starting new things, but forget about the reader, forget about product. You could also create a joint shared public deadline of some kind, like the bookstore reading I shared with you, to help you see and value your work and give yourself a container, a place to get to. You could try claiming that writing matters to you. And while you may love and dream in the shower about a certain outcome, bestseller list, etc., you will no longer give that outcome any kind of magic power. You'll put your attention back over and over again on the intention of learning about, getting the pages done, being immersed in your writing. That's where the juice is. You might examine what pressure to provide self-worth and meaning for your life you're putting on the very act of writing. Curious about those stories and just see how they defend you and shape you and bring them into the light with a lot of self-compassion. You could try making simple, clear, precise promises that you can actually keep given your current life about when you will write, how much and how often. Sharing them with someone, writing them on your calendar. Do writing practice with intention into a form. And to save the best for last, let yourself love it. Let yourself desire writing. Let yourself be immersed in it. Let yourself be a nerd about it. It's so fun. You should see me get excited about talking about structure, which I will in the next video. Let yourself feel the pure desire of writing with a relaxed body instead of getting all uptight about the perfect outcome, which really doesn't come for an artist and doesn't last. Let yourself be in the hot mess of being a messy, imperfect lover of writing. Okay? What idea are you going to use? How are you going to make it your own? Just one. Videos here. You can always come back and try others in the future. Get to it.